Good morning. Welcome to Fasting Space. So nice to have you here today. I hope you are doing so well. Flying through our second week of December. It's hard to believe. Do you ever change your behavior? Change the way you're thinking, change the way you're acting, maybe even change the way you're eating just to please somebody else. Such a common thing. We're going to dive deep on it today. Our desire to seek approval from people is it's hardwired way down in there. If you think about how we grow and develop, it's hard to believe when we're older. It's like we used to be this little baby. We had to cry out. We had to seek attention. And as we grow up, we're so dependent on everybody else. We have to seek approval. We need to please the people who are strong and give us food. And so we have these habits and patterns that are ingrained. We want to please people. And now we find ourselves in a world where so many decisions, so much peer pressure, so many people with opinions and perspectives. Whose path are we on? That's what I want to ask. Are we on our path or are we on someone else's path? It's hard enough to walk our own path. This is where we want to go today. Hard enough to take the steps that we need to take on our own path without trying to walk on somebody else's. A big part of seeking approval from people is we just want to appear normal. We want other people to think, oh, everybody doing the normal thing. Nobody stepping out. This creates such conformity in action. Can you feel that? We're aware of how we're acting. Right? And so when we're stepping out, we can feel like, oh, what is someone else going to think? It can turn our life into a performance. And we do not want that. We don't want to be actors in our own life. I think this is the big question if we drill right down to the bottom of it. We ask ourselves this invisible question that can just permeate everything, all of our decision making. What are people going to think of me? Do you ever ask that? What are people going to think? Maybe you run into that with eating in particular. One of the things I like about fasting is a practice. It's not flashy. It's nothing. You don't have to even really do anything. And so it can be a private, personal practice. You don't have to broadcast it or tell anybody you're doing it. But it can run into a situation. Do you ever have it? It's maybe if it was just up to you, you wouldn't be eating. But then there's pressure to eat. Some other person says, oh, fasting, if they don't like it. Or maybe it's that they don't like it, that they feel like it's a mirror. We talk about how fasting can be a mirror for ourselves. Fasting can be a mirror for other people. People on a different path can feel confronted by it. Oh, here is a person who is stepping out courageously, doing something different. That can be reflecting a mirror to other people. They might not like it. Take that mirror away from me. That's getting us into navigating, tricky emotional space. Especially, if it's with friends or family, you don't want to offend anyone. But then it's do you want to offend yourself either? This is where we want to turn it inside and look. Do we have authenticity in our eating and in our action? Are we being true to ourselves? Or are we offending ourselves? Are we putting everybody else's needs or perspectives, or what we think are other people's needs and perspectives, ahead of our own actions? People run into that. I talk to people, say, even going to the doctor, I have a lot of talk with people about that. Do you tell people things you think people want to hear? Or you're with family, you're with friends. Okay, we'll be diving into this today deeper. I recorded for us a reflection space. Here it is. So I really liked this. I was hiking. I made us the sunset one the other day, and then this is where I was at before the sunset. The lake that's by my house has these natural springs, and so here's this kind of pocket off the side of the lake where there's a natural spring. And so it was 7 degrees when I filmed this. The entire lake is frozen over, except these little patches where the spring is kind of bubbling up. You can see the water a little bit disturbed. There's natural spring water flowing out into this space, and so it doesn't freeze. I haven't gone there all winter. I don't know if it stays like this all winter. But I thought this was a good space to sit and reflect. I'll float one quote out for us over the water here. Better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to live in imitation of someone else's life with perfection. Isn't that profound? I love that because I say that a lot, right? We don't have to be perfect. Perfection not required as you're moving toward health, as you're moving toward weight loss. We want a practice that is gentle, thoughtful, and therefore sustainable. That's what I want most of all. That's our path. And so we want to be really intentional about walking on our path, living our own life, following our destiny in as imperfectly as we may do it. When we're trying to create a performance, I think this is what it can be. Try to please other people. Nothing wrong with pleasing people per se, but we have to be living in alignment. If our identity is coming from pleasing other people with our actions, as opposed to simply being who we actually are, that is not setting up a stable or thoughtful emotional space, I say. And then we layer on and we realize that everybody has the potential of doing this. Everybody is, as a general rule, do you think it's fair to say, trying to please other people, trying to create impressions? Everybody have a mask on, everybody trying to do things to say, oh, look, this is how I'm acting. I'm eating in socially appropriate ways, social conformity. Do you find spaces in your life where you're doing that? But then everybody's doing it, and you start to realize the facade of it. Like so many of the topics that we've been covering, regrets and anger, mental processes that are taking up emotional space. We're trying to move in a powerful direction of health. We're trying to make difficult changes in life, things that are difficult for many people. Many people have the idea, of course, say, hey, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to get healthier. I'm going to start making different decisions with movement and food choices. Open up a fasting space. I'm going to dive into this path we really want to open up, especially make this powerful foundation for every other good practice. We want to let go of everything that doesn't serve that. We can end up trapped if we're seeking our validation through other people. You say, I'm taking an action, it's not necessarily true to myself. It's like putting ourselves in a little box where now it's like our mental activity, we're thinking, well, what will this person think? What will that person think? It could be like living in a hall of mirrors, I say, because it's like everybody thinking that, everybody trying to kind of keep up these perspectives. Maybe this is a spot for the journal today. Are there areas in my life, this is what I'm going to be reflecting on today. Are there areas in my life where I'm making decisions just to keep up appearances, just to do something that someone else has an expectation? If we're trying to focus on our eating specifically, maybe that's a way to dial it in deeper. Are there ways that I'm eating, or are there food choices that I'm making that are more about pleasing other people than pleasing myself, than walking on my path? We've talked a lot about building our awareness practice. Maybe this is a place when we're making decisions. Are there split-second thoughts that are coming in where we're thinking, we're going to make a decision, but then we think, well, what would be the thing that would make me look smarter? What would be the thing that would be more agreeable versus what do I really want? That's the question I really want to help people dial in on. What do I really want? We're here in December. We're on a weight challenge. We're trying to drop 5 pounds if you're on that path. Over the next 3 weeks, we've launched through our first week, dialing through our second week. Say, what are the practices that I can do in this day that helps me take this step in this day? The only opportunity we have to take this step in this day. Nobody else on our exact path in this day. Maybe your path looks a little different from someone else's. No doubt it will. When you don't need someone else's approval, when our actions, when our sense of worth, our well-being, our knowledge of ourself, when we know what path we're on, we don't need approval from other people. That's a path of strength. So many times, I think if we're not really sure of ourselves, we don't really know what path we're on, then we're open, to manipulation, to being pushed around by other people's perspectives, by advertising. We spent a lot of time over the last couple months thinking about how priming, how advertising and messages come to us, try to shape our perspective of what's normal. That's why we want to really do this deep work, really ground ourselves, let go of everything that doesn't serve us, get into an emotional, mental, and physical space that is extremely grounded and present. This is why we flow through the space, the journal, the meditation, so that we can really get to know ourselves, really get to understand our path, our values, what is important to us in this moment. Then you can't be pushed around by advertising. Then a culture that you say, this culture not really taking us in a good direction, not really a healthy, grounded, peaceful culture that's flowing gently toward health. We don't need approval from that. This is what's coming to me right now. Do I want approval from something like that? No, I don't personally. Definitely don't want an approval from a culture like that. And then as I'm thinking about it, say, well, it gets difficult. The difficulty would be in relationships that we have. I think one of the most difficult places to be in is if you have a close relationship with someone who's not really interested in walking on a health path with you. That can be very difficult. Of course, I think, well, we do want approval, especially from the people who are closest to us. So then we've got to really delineate that and find the line that is the very most thoughtful way to move forward. We want self-approval, being true to ourself in alignment, finding a way to be true to that without seeking approval from people we care about, but navigating the line where we are careful and thoughtful and gentle with them so that we're both true to ourselves and helpful to other people. I think a difficult scenario, and a way I see this play out a lot with people, especially in a partner relationship, one partner really wanting to dive in on health, the other not. The tendency is that the person who is not on the path pulls the person in that direction. That's what the default is. We've spent a lot of time talking lately about complacency and how so much of the default mechanisms is in our brain leads us into paths of complacency. Perhaps always seeking approval from other people. Very hard to do that and come to a place where you can change. Always someone has to step out. And so if we're moving toward health, realize what really is the caring thing to do is not just to seek approval from someone that you care about, but also to move toward health, to make a health a priority. We want healthy relationships. Moving toward health in alignment with our core being, it's feeling to me in this moment, has to be the foundation of truly healthy relationships. Codependency relationships where we support people in paths of dishealth is not a strong foundation for healthy relationships, for health or healthy relationships. I say bring it down to this root level. Seek approval from ourselves first. Are there places you see this showing up? Are there places that this has been a struggle with you, for you, where you're seeking outside of yourself for approval? And is it changing things? Do you feel it pushing you off of a path? Are there places where you see, I am seeking approval from this, where you just need to say, hey, I need to just move away from that? Are there toxic influences or relationships that you have that you say, I'm always seeking to please this, but it's not taking me in a better way? Is that an area? I just throw it out there. Is there some places we need to say no more of that? We need to carve away some space for yourself to focus in, dial in on your own path and nobody else's. Many times when we do that sort of thing, it's hard to say no to something. It's hard if we've been seeking approval from something, we put a lot of emotional energy into it. You can think of that sunk cost fallacy. It's like if we are saying no to something, we feel like, oh, we've lost this effort that we have put into it. Especially if it's something like a relationship. It can be hard for something like that to go. But when we start acting in a way that is authentic to ourselves, I love that saying, we've said it before. You have to say no to good things in order to open up space for better things. So fasting giving us this mirror. Saying no to food. Food is very good, right? But saying no to food for a period of time, open up space for something better. An autophagy effect, a cleansing effect. We want both these things to come into balance. We say no to something, say not authentic. How do we open up space for something better? More authentic relationships that value the actual path that we are on. This is what we should be seeking. Being true to ourselves and attracting people that want that sort of thing, that say, I see who you really are and I value that. We want relationships that are based on that. And we want to free up the emotional space that we don't have to be performing or pretending, putting on any kind of mask, facade, to be anything else than who we exactly truthfully are. That would be the ideal state. Not at all to be selfish. You say, it's not that you don't care what other people think. Just about living in alignment. Are we living in alignment? Are we being authentic with ourselves? Changing who we are, what we value, to please someone else because we think it's nice? Isn't that just another form of manipulation? We don't want to be manipulated by anything, right? We're saying, how do we build a strong and resilient mindset so that we are resistant to the difficulty of culture, resistant to the influence of money and advertising on our decision making, living true to our being? Like this quote says, we're living our destiny as imperfectly as it may be. To change that just because we think it's nice to someone, to say, well, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not necessarily walking on my path anymore because I'm trying to be nice. You see, that doesn't feel like being nice to me. That's what creates this whole culture. And think how social media amplifies that. Everybody putting on a front. Everybody trying to manipulate people's emotional states. Say, just like me. Like, I'll behave this way. I'll change who I am. Just like me, Just think well of me. That takes a lot of emotional space to do that. Do you ever do that? I definitely know that I have done that. This space just as much for me because I don't want to do that. I do not want to do it. We've got to get on our path. We've got to make our decisions. When we're doing that, when we are living authentically with the path that we're on, very intentionally, then we open up the space to be actually truly nice, to truly have compassion for people, to truly care about people. Nothing fake about it. Nothing like I'm trying to manipulate your perspective by acting in a certain way. I'm being completely true to myself. I'm on this path. And then we can genuinely reflect that to people. To me, this is how we float through a space. We're trying to get to this state, trying to take a fasting practice, which people would say can be intense. It absolutely can be intense, and that's a very good thing. You need something intense if you're trying to float in a different direction of health. You want something powerful that can move you in a powerful way. Then we take it and we put it into a container that is very thoughtful and gentle, that is like this, making sure we're being true to ourselves, not being manipulated by other people. Where we can find, like we were seeing, true compassion for other people, true compassion, grace, kindness for ourselves. To me, this is the total inversion. We're taking fasting that our culture sees as something intense and difficult. We're bringing it down into this level of compassion, kindness, self-love, creating a deep reflection space like this beautiful image. Burn away everything artificial. That's why I say keep out the synthetic food products, keep out the artificial sweeteners, everything artificial. That's the mirror. Physically, fasting giving us a space, clear everything out, toxic stuff, physically in the body. Mirroring that in this emotional space, not seeking approval from anything else, anyone else, is part of that emotional cleansing process that a fasting practice also offers us. We want to bring those two together. This is how we take a fasting process and we shape it into a sustainable lifestyle of health. Something that is part of our journey, part of our path, a tool that we can use to shape our relationship and experience with food, to shape our physical and emotional experience, giving us a perspective, space of how we approach relationships and all that we do. When we stop seeking approval from other people, we start seeking our own approval. We realize something very profound is that, maybe say this with me, I am enough. I am enough. We don't need to earn approval from anyone else. You don't have to justify your value or experience. Shift the perspective from seeking, always external, to being. Just to be is good enough. Take a big, deep breath. Just to be. No approval needed. Do some good reflection on these thoughts today. I am going to be reflecting on them Taking the steps in this day, centering start to the day here, seeking our own approval, our own path, whatever that looks like for weight loss and health, our whole life, not walking anyone else's path, being true to ourselves, and moving forward in health. Really nice to share this space with you today. Thanks so much for being here. Send me your thoughts and reflections on this over the day. I'll be happy to have an ongoing conversation with you in the comments. Be well, everybody. I'll see you back here tomorrow.